Sandworms in Dune Awakening are frightening, terrifying even, because when they eat you, you will lose all your items. Well, not quite. They're at least giving you a sandworm tooth you can keep, but let's be honest here, everything else is gone, and you don't really want to let that happen. So the big question is, how do they work? How terrifying are they really? And are they that dangerous and will eat you up in just a second the moment you are stepping on sand in the game? The answer to all of this is no. Sandworms are actually not that terrifying, and you can kind of predict what they are doing next. So let's talk about that. First things first, as I said before, when you are getting eaten by a sandworm, you are losing everything. It's gone. You're not getting that back. The first time it happens to you, the game is at least nice enough to give you like a second chance. You will have a little event which is happening, and then the game is like, hey, that was a pretty dumb idea you just had with being eaten by a sandworm. Don't do that again. Here is a little bit of extra stuff we are giving to you, especially if you've lost your first vehicle, and then you can replace some of the items you have lost. But that is only happening once per game. And again, it will not account for all of the stuff you lost, especially if you had a lot of money with you or you had some very rare resources with you. It's gone. Like, you would not see that ever again. And especially also losing a vehicle is definitely not a fun thing to do. So please be very careful in getting eaten by a sandworm. But how high is the chance actually that that is happening? Well, I have been doing some tests, quite a bit actually, so that means I was out in the desert and got eaten by the sandworms multiple times to figure out how they work, so you don't have to do it. And the good news is, sandworms are actually not that hungry. You can walk around for quite some time in the open desert before a sandworm is even getting attracted to you. So let's say you are just a normal character and you are running through the desert. No, you're not using a vehicle. You're just running through it. It would take up at least a minute before a sandworm will break through the sand at some point and making it known to you that they are now onto you. After that happened, you have about another 20 to 30 seconds before another sandworm will just pop up and will try to eat you. That doesn't mean you are done now. You still have a chance to get somewhere safe, but you have about a minute and 15 to 20 seconds before you are really getting into danger to be eaten. Now, what is if you are running around, well, actually driving around with your first vehicle, which is the sand bike? Well, then of course you have much less time because the sand bike is creating much more noise, which will attract sandworms much faster. And it would take about 40 seconds till the sandworm is attracted to your position. And then you have another, I would say, 20 seconds again, so up to a minute, before a sandworm is really trying to eat you. Now, that is the standard procedure if you're not using any abilities, if you are not fighting, right? If that happens, then yes, a sandworm might be attracted much faster to your position. And also very important, depending on if other players are nearby. So what I have figured out is the sandworms are actually real. They're not just something which is being spawned in. And you can see that when I'm showcasing right now this little bug, which happened to me in the beta, that I did fall through the desert, and I could actually see the sandworms moving underground. So they're actually real things existing in the world. And it seems like there is a limited amount of them. And so when another player is attracting one of those sandworms right now and they are breaking through the sand and doing the roar and making you known that, oh, okay, there's a sandworm after me. When that happens to another player and you're relatively nearby, it seems like this is delaying the sandworm being actually attracted to your position. So that means you actually have even more time before the sandworm is coming after you. Now, I don't know if the sandworm is then breaking through the sand again when they're being attracted to you after the other player disappeared, or if they are now just hunting you nearby. That's something I unfortunately couldn't test because it also doesn't happen too often. Another few things you should definitely know is you see sometimes those sandworms just going through the desert, right? Those huge clouds of dust. And the question is, can you be eaten by the sandworms while they are underground? The answer is yes. You should definitely look to the left and to the right when you are crossing the desert, because if there is a sandworm just coming right at you and you are like in the pathway, like in the middle, it can kill you. It can eat you. Like, it happened to me, and I didn't even plan for it, right? I was just on my way back from one of the missions, and I didn't look to the left, and I just see this huge dust cloud coming at me. I couldn't do anything anymore, and bam, was dead, was eaten, and everything was gone. So make definitely sure that you are looking a little bit around you when you are crossing the desert. And of course, as always, do not build on open sand. And one last thing I haven't mentioned before is a lot of people are wondering, wait, when is the worm getting attracted to me? Well, as I said, you have to go into the open desert. And that really means you need this little seismic HUD interface popping up on the bottom of your screen, right? If that doesn't pop up, no worm is getting attracted to you. If it pops up and you're moving around, that means you will now start to attract the worm, and you will fill the meter till you are getting to a position again where you do not attract the worm. It doesn't matter if you're moving around a little bit, then stop moving, and then move around again. That does not reset the meter. There's basically an invisible meter which is now ticking from 0 to 100, is filling up, and as long as you are staying in the open desert, it will fill up. You have to basically go to a safe place that will immediately reset the meter, and then you can go out into the desert again and continue walking. But as I said, you have at least like a minute before the first sandworm is attracted to you. If you are just walking around, if you're using abilities, shooting around, having fights, using your vehicles, you have, of course, far less time than that. So keep that in mind. But that's probably everything you have to know about the sandworm. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please leave a like underneath it. If you still have some questions about the sandworms, let me know in the comments, and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. And also, if you're new to the channel, you want to see more Dune videos, we already have quite a bit of them, and even live streams, then I would appreciate if you might consider to subscribe. With that said, thank you so much for watching, folks. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.